A very warm good evening wherever you are. This is TBC News, our top stories. President Samia honors 60 years of TPDF. TIC says investments continue to multiply.
And Iringa is a very strategic region. We find it to be quite important because it's along the corridor.
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Nasa King. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBConline, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBConline. President of Tanzania and Commander-in-Chief Samia Suluhu Hassan says Tanzania will continue to invest and build even stronger army forces, where professionalism is the top priority, with the most capable and modern tools. The Commander-in-Chief has given the assurance while closing the top-level field exercise as part to mark 60 years of the Tanzania People's Defense Forces, TPDF, held in Msata Coast region, insisting that the 60 years of the Defense Force is of great importance to the nation.
Kufanyika kwa mazoezi haya pia ni sehemu ya kuhakikisha umadhubuti.
These field exercises are part of enhancing strengthening of the forces. I direct you to continue protecting the bases of the establishment of the Tanzanian People Defense Forces, and also continue to maintain discipline, obedience, and courage. The TPDF will continue to be the people-centered, and also it will continue to be a liberation army. The TPDF will continue to maintain peace, and through such field exercises, our forces will continue to be exemplary in Africa and the world as a whole.
Afrika na dunia kwa ujumla kuhusu hodari, weledi na nidhamu jeshini.
Furthermore, the Chief of Defense Forces, General Jacob John Mkunda, elaborates further the role of the exercise.
We have conducted lots of such exercise as we measure the strength of our equipment. As you have witnessed today, we also have tested the capacity of our administrative groups when they are in the front lines facing the enemy.
The ceremony has also been attended by the Minister of Defense and National Service, Dr. Stergomide Tax, other government leaders of the ministry, officers, and other government leaders of the coast region. The Executive Director of the Tanzania Investment Center, TIC, Gilead Terry, says that good leadership, conducive environment for investment, reliable electricity and water supply are major contributing factors leading to the increase in the number of investors in Tanzania. Speaking to journalists in Iringa, Terry says for the financial year 2023-2024, TIC has registered 707 projects, which is an increase of 91% from 362 projects in the previous financial year. Irene Mukalinga from Iringa region has more details.
The increase in the number of investors in the country is always good news for local residents, as they benefit in terms of employment and also the assured markets for their products. According to the TIC Director, Gilead Terry, Iringa region alone has registered more than 241 investment projects with a capital of $80 billion and provides more than 28,000 jobs in the region. But which sector leads the list of investments in the Iringa region?
And Iringa is a very strategic region. We find it to be quite important because it's along the corridor, the Tanzania-Zambia corridor, which makes it very, very essential for logistics and transportation. But it's a big agricultural region, but also a big industrial region, and mostly agro-processing industries.
Terry calls on more potential investors to invest in the region, as the region also has fast-growing tourism sector.
But most of all, Iringa is a touristic region. They have one of the largest national parks in Tanzania, Ruaha, which scientifically it has a much bigger offering than the Serengeti. So this is the Serengeti of the south. So when we talk about manufacturing, tourism, logistics, as well as agriculture, you cannot bypass Iringa. So we are here on a mission, not only to sensitize the local community, but also to speak to investors who are based here, listen to some of their challenges and see how we can address, but also encourage them to invest more.
Some investors in the Iringa region admit that there have been significant improvements compared to previous years.
I will say, I must say everything actually very, very nice. Concession fees, park fees, entry fee, I can stand under completely. We need to make money, and I think people like guests would like to see if they pay for something, to, like for instance to access a park, they would just like to see where that money maybe go to.
The TIC Executive Director elaborates that countries of China, USA and the UK are leading by having most investment projects, followed by Middle East countries. Irene Mwakalinga, TBC, Iringa.
Good news there from the Iringa region. Now from Iringa, we come all the way to Dar es Salaam, where the Budget Committee of the House of the Representatives in Zanzibar says they are delighted with the construction progress of the BRT project in various areas of the city of Dar es Salaam. The members of the committee made the remarks while visiting the BRT projects, which are managed by the Tanzania National Roads Agency, TANROADS, vowing to utilize the knowledge and experience collected to improve road projects in Zanzibar. Peter Mganga has more details.
This is Dar es Salaam city, whereby most of the residents who are living here, they are busy and they are looking forward to achieve their dreams and goals. But today is a special day for TANROADS and Zanzibar's Budget Committee, who have decided to join hands together so that to visit various BRT projects which are found here in Dar es Salaam.
The progress of BRT3 is going very well now. It's more than 60% complete, and I would hope by the end of this year the majority of this leg will be complete. We were slow getting started, but most of the teething problems have now been overcome, and the contractor, Sino Hydro, is progressing very well.
According to the Tanzania National Roads Agency, TANROADS, the current BRT Phase 3 project has reached 59%. And here, the chairman of the Budget Committee of the House of Representatives in Zanzibar, Mwana Asha Hamis Juma, explains how her committee is satisfied with the projects.
As the
committee, we are satisfied with the progress of the BRT projects. And according to Tanzania National Road Agency, they say that they have finished BRT Phase 1, while 99% has reached on BRT Phase 2, as well as 59% for the BRT Phase 3. We have decided to visit BRT projects so that we can learn, and we have witnessed a massive progress of BRT projects around Dar es Salaam city.
On the other hand, Engineer Leonard Nkayunga, who is a BRT project manager, explains the strategies in place for TANROADS to execute road construction projects, vowing to complete the BRT Phase 3 by next year.
We've completed the BRT Phase 1. We are now completing BRT Phase 2. We have BRT Phase 3, BRT Phase 4, BRT Phase 5 along Mandela, and also BRT Phase 6, which is going to touch some of the roads which will be interlinking from one feeder road to another one. And finally, we expect after completion of 6 phases, the rest of them are going to change.
This is one among the best projects which has been initiated by the government of Tanzania. I'm Peter Mganga, TBC News, Dar es Salaam.
Thank you very much, Peter Mganga, for that report. Now moving to the finance sector. The Minister of Finance, Mwigulu Nchemba, has laid the foundation stone for the first phase of the 3 phases of the construction of the campus of the Institute of Accountancy, Arusha in Babati, congratulating the management of the Institute for effective implementation of the project. Here are more details.
The first phase of the project includes construction of an academic building, dormitories and restaurant, where the construction cost 10 billion shillings out of 6 billion shillings came from the Institute's internal revenue, and 4 billion shilling has been issued by the government through the Ministry of Education. Nchemba insists the sixth phase government has significantly increased the investment, directing financial resources to various social services, including education, where in a short period of time the budget for the free education, secondary and tertiary education has been increased from an average of 17 billion shilling to 35 billion shillings per month.
Ukizihesabu tu siku 30 hivi kuna bilioni 35.
There are 35 billion Tanzania shillings for education without fees every month. They go to every village. That's why we are telling you that President Samia has visited every village and improved the education sector by increasing middle colleges and also increasing loans in the middle colleges and empowering students who came from poor family.
On the other hand, the Manyara Regional Commissioner, Queen Sandiga, congratulates the minister for improving various socio-economic sectors in the country, and that the construction of the campus of the Institute of Accounts, Arusha in Babati, will multiply economic and educational opportunities for the people of the region and the neighboring areas.
Deputy Minister of Minerals, Dr. Stephen Kiruswa, says the licenses issued to large-scale miners of strategic minerals require them to establish factories and facilities inside the country for the value addition to the minerals, insisting that the move aims at increasing efficiency and revenue to the nation through the mining sector. He made the remarks during the closing of an annual gemstone value addition training, adding that currently there are 5 gold processing plants where now gold is being refined to 99.9% purity inside the country.
Serikali imeweka takwa kabisa la kanuni na utaratibu.
The government has established a regulatory requirement that no major mining company granted a large-scale license is allowed to extract and sell minerals in the law form. It is mandatory that the minerals must be processed within the country. In implementing this, we've ensured that some large license holders, such as Tembo Nickel, comply with this requirement. Therefore, the efforts are ongoing, and all of the major license holders must process the minerals here in the country. Even small-scale miners are required to try to add value to the minerals before they sell abroad. Additionally, we have ensured that in gold mining, licenses are permitted to establish facilities for refining, polishing, and adding value to the gold. We have 5 industries for this purpose, and now our gold is being refined to a purity of 99.9%.
On value addition training for participants from Tanzania, South Africa, Rwanda, and Kenya. Actually, when you wrote the application, we received more than 100 applications from North, East, West, and South Africa applying for this gemstone value addition training. But apparently, we managed to have 40 participants from these different countries that have been here. Among the topics that we have covered here for the past 2 days, African mining vision from AMDC and AU, also blockchain technology on traceability and transparency when it comes to gemstone and value addition.
The seminar included both theoretical and practical sessions on mineral value addition, with over 30 participants from more than 5 countries across Africa. Engineer Albert Williams from the Institute of Energy Professionals Africa, representing the Association of Energy Engineers, says that energy efficient industries and buildings are key in reducing operational costs and making the industries competitive in the global markets. Speaking during the practical training involving students pursuing energy management and audit, Engineer Williams insists energy efficiency has been instrumental in not only reducing the cost of production, but also create more employment opportunities and preserve the environment.
Energy is becoming one, if not the most expensive operational cost for many companies. Probably labor will be a larger one, but in many instances, energy is the largest cost. So if companies can save even a little bit of energy, it will make them much more competitive in the global market. And they'll be able to retain jobs, they'll be able to employ more people, so it's good for employment, it's good for the economy, in terms of commercial as well as industrial. So there's many examples all around the world where this has been done for many years, and it's something I'm very, very passionate about, and I believe this is really one of the key principles that it's overlooked opportunities in energy efficiency.
So it's important for us to save money whenever we can so that we can invest in other sectors of development. And one way to do that is to make sure that we reduce energy consumption so that we don't have to invest too much in power generation and rather invest on other sectors like healthy.
People are being told that, conservation. But rarely people are being told that the conservation or energy efficiency as part of conservation can create jobs, can create revenue to agencies. Now, of course, more important, that would be a better way to sustain. So this training has arrived at the time when we wanted to have to learn a best and sustainable way to promote sustainable conservation initiatives.
The cause is sponsored by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and the European Union, aiming to promote better use of energy in Tanzania. The Tanzania Fertilizer Company has entered into an agreement with a United company from Zambia. The agreement targets to ensure sufficient fertilizers for the tobacco crop in the country. Speaking to journalists in Dodoma, the Minister of Agriculture, Hussein Bashe, says through the agreement, the tobacco crop farmers will be assured of enough fertilizers throughout the year.
Wakulima wa tumbaku watahakikishiwa upatikanaji wa tumbaku ndani.
Tobacco farmers will be assured of the availability of fertilizer in 2 weeks' time. Currently, they have already been supplied with fertilizer for initial planting stages. Currently, Tanzania has more than 22,000 tons of fertilizer, which are the remainder from last year. We expect to have almost 10,000 tons of fertilizer imported into the country.
Furthermore, Bashe says the United Company, in collaboration with TFC, will also sign an agreement to that aim at streamlining the production of urea fertilizers. Youth-centered organization TIE Tanzania, in collaboration with the American Embassy in Tanzania, say they will continue to collaborate to ensure youth are well informed at this digital age so as to make the right decisions and propel their creativity. Here are more details.
Speaking in Dar es Salaam, the TIE Tanzania Communication Relations Officer, Amy Rose Rugumamu, says our organization maximizes the use of film and other digital platforms to keep youth informed of key developmental issues.
With the partnership with the U.S. Embassy, we have been able to engage with over 500 young people, about 70 to 100 young people every month, by watching a movie, having discussions, and many other activities around that particular theme. And for the month of August, we are celebrating the Youth International Day. We are emphasizing on the use of digital and digital evolution as a whole. After the film, we'll have discussions and a few other activities that will go on in person and online.
On the other hand, the cultural officer from an American embassy in Tanzania, Chad Morris, says the existence of various programs are a key instrument for the growth of young people, while one of the students comments on the efforts made by stakeholders.
The role of youth, especially in a country like Tanzania, is enormous. And what we see is an opportunity for some incredible education and technology development here in Tanzania. One of the things that we are doing right now, in addition to the film series, we look at education opportunities in the United States for students who wish to study, Tanzanian students who wish to study in the United States. Additionally, we're conducting what we call the U.S.-Tanzania Tech Challenge. This is about developing applications and software to promote civic engagement, digital literacy, and other things. That will happen next month. And in addition, we've also just opened the application window for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which is a leadership course that takes place in the United States. We are actively looking for applications for that program. The application window runs until September 10th. So we very much look forward to getting a lot of applications again this year for that.
Through TAI, we are gaining experience on how to cross those challenges and how, or I can say, the good products, or I can say the benefit we get from these clubs. So the government needs to support these clubs very much, and also they need to give, I can say, financial support or other equipment so that these clubs, they can grow much and much more so that they can reach all schools in Tanzania.
More than 500 young people have benefited from the various programs offered by the organization in collaboration with other stakeholders.
Interesting story there, as prepared by Emmanuel Samuel and read by Antonia Kivaria. Now, before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now take a look at the exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday, that is Monday to Friday, to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled by Lulua Muhammad and read by Faidan Gaga.
A volcano in southwestern Iceland has erupted for the sixth time since December, according to the country's meteorological office. The Icelandic Meteorological Office says the eruption started at 9 p.m. on Thursday. The total length of the fissure was about 3.9 kilometers and had extended by 1.5 kilometers in about 40 minutes. Iceland's Ministry for Foreign Affairs says the eruption did not present a threat to life and that nearby area had been evacuated. Most of the residents had evacuated in November prior to an eruption in December, and while residents have since been allowed to return in between eruptions, only a few have opted to stay overnight. Iceland's national airport and air navigation service provider says in a statement that flights to and from the country were operating normally despite the ongoing eruption. Canada's government has intervened to stop unprecedented railway shutdown less than a day after it began. It has ordered the railway company to resume services and enter into arbitration with the unions to settle disagreements. The dispute shut down nearly 80% of rail network, threatened to cause serious damage to the economy. Canada's two major freight railroads have completely halted operations due to contract dispute with their workers. Canadian National and Canadian Pacific Railways both locked out their employees after the Thursday deadline passed without new agreement with the Teamsters Canada Rail Conference, which represent more than 9,000 engineers, conductors and yard workers. At least 13 people have been killed and nearly 3 million affected by floods triggered by heavy rains in eastern Bangladesh. The Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief says rescuers are scrambling to evacuate flooded communities. The ministry said on Friday that nearly 190,000 people were taken to emergency relief shelters and 14 of the country's 64 districts were affected by the flooding. According to the Global Climate Risk Index, Bangladesh is among the countries most vulnerable to disasters and climate change.
International news as prepared by Lulua Muhammad and read by Faida Gaga. Sports news up next. In sports news, Young Africans head coach Miguel Gamondi says his squad is ready to crush out Vitalo in the return leg of the CAF Champions League preliminary round to be played at the Chamazi Complex on Saturday. Gamondi made the remarks in Dar es Salaam ahead of the Continental Football Showdown, insisting that he is sure his team will qualify for the first round of the CAF Champions League, while their rivals head coach Abu Dayisenga says they are prepared to surprise the Tanzania champions.
We are capable to do in a ceremony like that. It's very, very sad we cannot play this game.
Young Africans needs only a draw to qualify for the next round of CAF Champions League after gaining a huge victory of 4-0 in the first leg match played last weekend at the same stadium. And the Tanzania Paralympic Committee President Tuma Dandi says his committee have organized games for the people with disabilities, hoping to nurture new talents ready for the international games in the future. Dandi told the TBC News in Dar es Salaam that they plan to give people with disabilities enough platform to showcase their skills.
That sports is something funny, and all people with disability also needs to be happy, and to be funny. So we think that sports have no enemy. Sports is a friendly to everyone. That's why we think that we can use it as a tool to against stigma, against the denial of rights of people with disability. Because if we do sports, people will see our talents. When they consider our talents, hence they will start behaving about our needs.
More than 50 people with disabilities across the country will showcase their talents next month in Dar es Salaam. And that is sports news. Now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Good evening, dear viewers. I'm Desderi Moses from Tanzania Meteorological Authority, and this is 24 hours weather forecast starting at 9 p.m. tonight. Moderate wind is expected over Lake Victoria together with Lake Nyasa, and wind is expected to flow at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour over the entire coastal strip of Indian Ocean as well as over Lake Tanganyika. And Tanzania Meteorological Authority has issued an advisory of periods of strong winds reaching 40 kilometers per hour and large waves reaching 2 meters over some areas along the coastal regions of Indian Ocean as well as over Rukwa and the Katavi regions that are found in the southern part of Lake Tanganyika. And tonight it is our expectation that cool temperatures and dry conditions are expected to persist, with the lowest minimum temperature is expected to be 7 degrees Celsius over Mbeya regions. And tomorrow it is our expectation that partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas and sun periods is expected over Kagera and the Mara regions, where light rain showers is expected over Tanga together with Unguja and Pemba ISOs, and the remaining part of the country is expected to be mainly dry. And now let us have a look at the weather forecast for the next 4 days for some regions in our country. Light rain is expected to persist over Dar es Salaam over some few days that are coming, while for Dodoma region, sun periods is expected to persist, as well as for Mbeya region, where the lowest minimum temperature is expected to be 7 degrees Celsius. For Mwanza region, sun period is expected to persist, as well as the same weather is also featured over Kilimanjaro region together with Morogoro region, where sun period is also expected to persist over those areas. This weather is also expected over Arusha region. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, until next time.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa Kingo. We wish you a good night and a constructive weekend.
Unaangalia TBC1.
ukweli na uhakika.
Watoto wetu tunakosea kwenye malezi ni kwa sababu tunawalisha taarifa za angalia umri, imeangalia utamaduni, imeangalia desturi, imeangalia mila. Kwa hiyo tafadhalini sana tunapotoa comment kwenye mitandao yetu